Reports are now coming in that Dan Wootton, the man who defamed and tried to destroy Johnny Depp, will be fired from GB News. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Now, this has not been confirmed by GB News or Dan Wootton yet, but this is coming in from the Byline Times. Now, I should say, the Byline Times has been trying to destroy Dan Wootton for quite some time now. They have investigated into this expose, the full story, these alleged catfishing incidents that Dan Wootton has done, where they say he was posing as a fictitious character named Martin Branning, as well as Maria Joseph, and was attempting to, do sordid things with a bunch of men and people in the work, and his own employees of his, in his own company. That all aside, let's see what they're reporting now regarding his position there at GB News. Apparently, they're saying Dan Wootton needs a miracle to save his £600,000 a year job at GB News, as the owner, Sir Paul Marshall, seeks to detoxify the brand as he bids for the Daily Telegraph. Byline Times can exclusively report. Wootton, whose private and professional conduct has been the subject of a series of exposés by this very newspaper, was informed on Friday that his services are unlikely to be required at the station again, alongside those of actor-turned-activist Laurence Fox. Now, Dan has said nothing yet on social media or anywhere yet, but the rumor now is coming in that he was told on Friday that it is unlikely he will be seen back. Pair are at the center of a misogyny backlash after Fox staged a sexist rant that he told everyone at the network he was going to do against journalist Ava Evans, who I'm not a fan of Ava either, given some of the things she said. Horrific stuff against men and male unalivingness. It's things she said are just as awful. And Ava has said the same type of misogyny online as well. So it's kind of weird that this is what's going to take Dan Wootton out, not the lies about Johnny or some other investigations of actual improper behavior. No, it's going to be this weird thing that Ava is going to spearhead, and enough people complained about that sends him out the door. It's complicated, man. This is a complicated topic because we even had a live about this. And if you missed that first video, in fact, I'm going to put it right here. I'll put it at the end of this video as well if you want to go watch it at the end. If you're unfamiliar with Dan and what's happening, you want the full rundown, I will show it to you there. But it is strange to me that this is what's ultimately going to take Dan down. And it does feel like, if anything, GB News was just looking for something to use as an opportunity to take him out. Honestly, I can relate to that even in my own situation back in the day. You save a lot of money when you can get rid of one of your star players and you have a reason to, where you think you can get away with it legally. Will they? That's going to be the big question here if this is all true. But yeah, GB News is cutting ties with a third broadcaster, Calvin Robinson, who was a regular face on Wootton's show and is reviewing the employment of a number of other employees ahead of a further Byline Times investigation to be published tomorrow. So again, they know there's a lot of stuff still being looked. The Byline Times has been heavy and on this network, they've been really paying attention and putting the heat on them. And so another one's being published tomorrow. And so with all of this happening, apparently the rumors are that they are now trimming a lot of fat behind the scenes, if you will. Last night, a GB News editorial source told this newspaper Dan Wootton has left the building and a lot of people are relieved. There has been anger and disappointment about all the negative attention. Good journalists have been questioning their future at the channel. Dan's face was left off a big promotion last week. It will be a miracle if he's seen here again. Absence of 40-year-old Wootton has rocked the network. He joined as a founding host 2 years and 3 months ago, in which Robinson on Friday credited him as being significant to the building through his influence of recruitment both behind the camera as well as on-screen talent. While Wootton smiled through the public appearance on Friday, the newspaper can reveal that he privately is considering, following the loss on Thursday of his $250,000 pound a year column for the Mail Online, quitting the UK to return to his native New Zealand. Now, he's already lost his $250,000 job. He's now going to lose his over half a million, so that's a lot. add those two together, that's a lot of money he's now losing based on losing both of these opportunities. Source close to the situation told Byline Times, it has been made clear to Dan that he will not be broadcasting again on GB News anytime soon, just as he will not be writing for Mail Online. Right now, he feels as if he might prefer just to go back to Wellington to be near family. And this is also after he tried to raise a decent amount of money, but didn't rally anywhere near it. I think he wanted 50 or 500. He wanted a large amount. I think he ended up getting about 30 something $1,000 and then shut it down at the very end. Probably because a lot of eyeballs would have been on that. He quietly shut all that down while pocketing some change. But yeah, things are getting hot and heavy for Dan Wootton. The pressure is beginning to build and his employers are not standing by him, it seems. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on here. They talk about, the article goes in more depth about the new founding stakeholder, Sir Par Marshall, has been losing his patience with the journalist for the past 2 months. The potential for harm to the brand became obvious when the newspaper unmasked Wootton in July as the hidden controller of the online pseudonyms Martin Branning and Maria Joseph, two catfishing identities used to fraudulently obtain compromising digital material from sources of men at least a 10-year period, and in some cases blackmail them. In addition, he Byline handed a dossier of evidence outlining some of its findings about Wootton's personal behavior to the Metro Police on June 20th. We will be updating it for detectives shortly as our investigation continues. When on July 18th, Wootton used his GB News platform to launch personal attacks on this newspaper, its journalist and former partner, while admitting to past errors of judgment, denied criminal behavior, but not to being connected to the Branning and Joseph names. And the network's ownership took notice. That's sort of the important thing here, because again, I don't know what's happening. Like I've said, Dan Wootton, just like anybody, is innocent until proven guilty. And this paper might be doing unfair attacks. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. And I've purposely not gotten too involved in the nitty gritty of the details here. But it is a good point. He never denied not being those people. And that's the big question here. Was he weirdly out there pretending to be other people, trying to fish for weird stuff from his employees and whatnot? If so, super serious accusations, super gross. And yeah, I could see why the guy would be incredibly nervous. So that's where we stand right now. Not surprised, to be honest, given the amount of attention and bad attention Dan Wootton has been bringing. It does seem like this incident is what sort of finally caused something to happen. Now, other reports coming in that GB News bosses are holding crisis talks following this whole storm, fighting for its future amid record viewer complaints. GB News chiefs held emergency talks over the weekend as the channel is fighting for the future of a series of scandals and record viewer complaints. Now, that could be from its competitors. Who knows where these are actually coming from? But regulator Ofcom has opened 12 investigations into the broadcaster, including one examining the on-air comments made by Laurence Fox. Yeah, they're looking 7,300 viewers complained. Again, the rules are totally different out in the UK and how the broadcast standards work, et cetera, of complaints and things. So that's all happening. It's understood that investors and managers from GB News were in contact this weekend to discuss how to move on amid all the bad publicity. It's crunch time for GB News. Former employee told The Observer they cannot just bask in notoriety forever because they do need to make some money and they need to keep the right to call themselves a channel for news programs. That's the problem here. This is a news network, right? They actually have to be fair and balanced and be careful. And Dan seems to have stopped. And again, it couldn't happen to a nicer fella. The way Dan treated Johnny Depp, the way all that went down, the way that Dan treated Michael Jackson and so many others. We've reported on this. I mean, what did you expect, dude? You were just lying a lot of the time. And to see how quickly he threw Laurence under the bus with this fake apology after snickering and clearly finding it amusing, but then trying, I'm so horrified. I didn't understand. You liar. Own it. Stand by what you said. Because the fact that you didn't shows you are a fraud. You're not even a genuine person who doesn't even stand by his own beliefs. So then what are you? If you're going to go against the news and show your bias and at least stand for something, well then stand for something. It's insane to me. And thankfully, I did report nicely about Dan. He came around and admitted he was wrong about Michael Jackson. He's yet to do it about Johnny. But clearly, he's wrong about Johnny as well. So the fact that this guy is constantly wrong, just making things up for his benefit, until he gets in trouble, then apologizes. Again, it's hard for me to support this guy because he's got no backbone. He's got none, zero, nothing, zilch, nada. And yeah, look, I don't wish anybody's cancellation, but this isn't happening due to the investigation. Let's be clear. This is happening due to the remarks that were made and a lot of other stuff clearly behind the scenes where I think the bosses are saying, look, this just isn't worth it anymore, Dan. Sorry. Too much trouble, too much drama. It's time to move on is what seems to be happening. So we'll hear what happens. An expose apparently dropping in the Byline Times. I guess it's dropping today. We will wait as that comes in. Stay tuned for more reporting on this and so much more here on Popcorn Planet. If you haven't already, hit that bell for alerts, smash that like button, and leave a comment down below. We'll keep you posted on this story and so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.
Go Planet!